What's up, you guys? In this video, I'm going to share the numbers behind my very first new construction project. Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Sunny and I'm a real estate investor based in Northeast New Jersey. On this channel, I share my real estate investing experience in an effort to help you start or grow your real estate portfolio. Today, I want to share the pro forma numbers behind my very first new construction project. Now, typically, I always hold whatever I buy, but this was a fix and flip opportunity that was too good to pass up. I bought an up-down duplex that I can't wait to tear down and convert it into a single-family home with a modern farmhouse aesthetic. Before we dive into the nitty-gritty numbers, let me give you a 10,000-foot view of what this project looks like. I bought this property for $525,000. I'm expecting to spend another $525,000 on the construction, and I'm expecting my ARV to be $1.5 million. That leaves a gross margin of $450,000. Between carrying costs and selling costs, I'm expecting to spend another $150,000, which brings my net margin down to $300,000. All right, now that we got the back of the napkin math out of the way, let's dive a little bit deeper into the purchase price, the construction costs, the carrying costs, the selling costs, and of course, the ARV. In regards to purchase price, we originally made an offer of $548,500 on this property. However, during our due diligence phase, we discovered that this property had an oil tank as well as structural issues in the basement. So we were able to negotiate a $25,000 seller credit, which brought our purchase price down to just under $525,000. As far as financing the deal goes, we used a mix of hard money and private money lenders to fund 100% of this project, from purchase price to construction and working capital, at 8.5% interest only for 12 months. Before we purchased this house, our lender had the property appraised, and that as-is appraisal came back at $575,000, which meant we had $50K of equity on day one. Another data point that gave me comfort was knowing a house down the street recently sold for $600,000 before the developer put a new house on that lot. With just these 2 points of information, I felt pretty comfortable that if I ever felt like I was getting in over my head on this project, I could sell it for significantly more than I bought it for. All right, now let's move on to construction costs. There are 3 different ways you can underwrite construction costs on a project like this. The first way is talking to a local expert. Luckily for me, my mentor does a few fix and flips like this every single year. And when I told him about this deal, he was practically salivating. His exact words were, "This is a fat spread. You can make every single mistake in the book here and you'll still won't lose money." When I asked him his thoughts on the construction costs, he shot from the hip and said 450K to 500K ought to do it. The second way to underwrite a project like this is to use the price per square foot method. Based on the finishes required for a home like this, I'm expecting to spend $125 per square foot on the first and second floor, $10,000 in the attic with a powder room, and $50,000 in the basement. Now, that $50,000 in the basement includes digging out the foundation, installing superior walls, putting a bedroom, bathroom, kitchenette down there, and a rec room. The third and probably most accurate way to underwrite a project like this is to use actuals from another new construction home. My mentor sold his latest new construction project about a year ago. He gave me his profit and loss statement so I could use his numbers as a template for my construction budget. If you want to download the template that I use to come up with my construction costs, there's a link in the description down below. The house my mentor built was about 10% larger than what I'm about to build. However, I didn't use that as an excuse to adjust the numbers down. Instead, I went the opposite way. I increased his numbers by 20% because over the past year, construction costs have risen significantly. Now let me tell you how I got to my after repair value. The first step I took was running my own CMA from the data that I could pull from Zillow. I found 5 recently sold comps and plotted all of their stats. I found out how much they sold for, their bedroom, bathroom count, their square footage, their lot size, and the building description. Once I had all of that information, I knew what I had to build, and I took the price per square foot and I applied it to how many square feet my building is going to be, and that number came out to just over $1.5 million. The second data point that I have is the second half of the appraisal that was commissioned by my hard money lender. Earlier in the video, I told you that my hard money lender had an appraisal done and the as-is value came back at 575K, which gave me 50K of equity on day one. However, I didn't mention that they also had an after repair value appraisal done, and that number came back at $1.5 million exactly. That makes me feel pretty confident in my numbers. There are two more major line items to account for, and that's carrying costs and the costs of sale. Let's start with the cost of sale because it's easier to calculate. I predict that the best agent is going to charge me 4% of the sales price to represent me on this deal. I also think at the closing table, I'll have to pay another 1% in just transferring the property to the new homeowners. That's 5% of $1.5 million in selling costs, which comes out to $75,000. Then finally, we have our carrying costs. My property tax in as-is condition is about $12,000 per year. My insurance costs between builder's risks and general liability is going to be about $3,000 per year. And then the big ticket item in this category is the interest. I'll be paying 8.5% interest on $525,000, which was the purchase price, for the full term of 12 months. That comes out to $45,000. Then, depending on how much money I draw and how quickly, I'll probably pay another $15,000 to $20,000 in interest for the construction loan, which brings our total carry cost for the year to $75,000. So when you add that to our sales costs, we're basically spending $150,000 between the two. This is a pretty massive project to take on as my very first new construction project. However, I'm feeling pretty confident because I ran my numbers tight and I had them validated by multiple people, including my lender, the appraiser, and my mentor. Before I end the video, I wanted to just give you a quick reminder. If you want the template that I used to build out my construction costs on this project, there's a link in the description down below. But just as a reminder, those numbers are for a 3,000 square foot modern farmhouse built in New Jersey in 2020. So make sure you adjust your numbers accordingly for size as well as the time between back then and now. Construction costs have risen at least 20% since then. I hope you enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed making it for you. If you want to watch more videos like this from me, click here to watch a video where I reveal my entire real estate investment portfolio. Finally, I put out a new video like this every single week, so if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. I don't want you to miss the next one. All right, peace.